Welcome to Perspective Now. I'm Marcus, and I'm here with none other than Nunyub. What's up, Nunyub?
Happy New Year's, Marcus. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, Happy New Year to you as well, and to everybody listening. Here we are in 2021. Can't believe it.
Finally. Yeah, finally. Am I right?
God, yes. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It already feels great. And so we've got a good episode for you guys this evening. We are going to be talking about toys that we can't forget.
Yeah, there's the ones that you can't forget because they're so good. And then there's the ones you wish you could forget.
Yeah.
And Marcus, I got to say, I'm starting off with one of those right away here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to the time machine of the toy that, if I could, I would forget first.
Okay.
Do that now.
Excellent. Oh.
This is a doll.
Oh.
My buddy
Oh,
and Kid Sister.
That commercial and that song, it's just what you'd refer to as an earworm.
It is an ear. Yeah. Oh, man. I can't believe you started the video with that. I remember this commercial vividly. It was on TV all the time. It was like you'd be trying to watch, the gummy bears, and bam, this shit would just come at you hard. And they went for the co-ed toy here. I mean, they've got the girl, kid sister, and my buddy.
Yeah.
Which, actually, Nunyub, tell me, do you think that My Buddy came out before Child's Play and Chucky, or did Chucky come after or before? I can't remember. I feel like he came after.
He must have come after. It was built off of the My Buddy franchise.
Yes.
Somebody who was sitting there as a writer said, this commercial is so annoying. How can I possibly get it to stop? And I think they may have succeeded because, again, from then on, there are no happy memories of My Buddy. There's just we let a Chucky into our household. What were we thinking?
Yeah. It's
And
My
again,
Buddy with a kitchen knife.
It really is. And red hair.
Yeah, he's got a different color hair. So tell me, did you have a My Buddy?
Unfortunately, yes. I was one of the victim children of this marketing campaign where they just essentially they were selling dolls to boys, basically, is what was going on. And, it is the ire and torment of the constant making fun of since then that there was this My Buddy doll. I don't know that I can say that wherever I went, he went. But I can say that I do recall I did have a My Buddy, which was,
That's pretty
friendship
cool.
offered with a My Buddy. It sounds nice. You're getting a friend. In theory, it is what it is.
I think that that's crazy. I think that the thing that's interesting about My Buddy is it's basically like, I would say it's a step up as far as a boy, as far as Cabbage Patch Kids. Because I had friends who were boys and girls who had Cabbage Patch Kids like crazy. And it wasn't beyond wanting a Cabbage Patch Kid. I had a Cabbage Patch Kid, and it was like an army version. He had like I'm not kidding you. He came in like full army gear, and like he had a leather jacket. And it was like a cool, but I kind of was embarrassed It was cool, but I didn't want to take him with me. I definitely learned quickly that thing was an at-home toy, And so what my buddy is sort of like, take him with you wherever you go. He's gonna go. I don't know. I mean, is that true? So it's interesting. Did you take him outside and play with him with your friends too, or?
Oh, I sure hope not in retrospect, but most likely. I mean, the reality is it's interesting how these are marketed as well, that, my buddy is a real pal. Kit's sister is a true friend, but she's a family member also. I mean, let's point that out. Like, you're either getting a friend or a family member. Pretty interesting to say the least. But with that said, this is just one of those toys that you can't forget. It's like, oh, every time you wish you could be done with it, it pulls you back in. I was putting some shoes on the other day on my little girl, and I was like, oh, the one thing I remember is having to put shoes on my buddy. And I have not stopped. My wife has not stopped making fun of me for that since then. So this is a current thing that I'm still getting teased for. This my buddy. It haunts me to this day.
Let me add a little bit to that because I'm curious now. I'm going to add a little bit of that, but why would you take off my buddy's shoes? What kind of activities would you be doing with my buddy where it didn't require footwear?
Oh, just kicking your feet in a pool. Just lounging on the beach when you're trying to, I don't know exactly what was the reason. I think when you have toys as a kid, you just want to see what can be done. And then you realize just because it can be done doesn't mean it was a good choice, because as I was saying, it was kind of a bee to get that shoe back on. And so,
well,
in fact, let's never talk about this again.
Yeah, so did anybody else out there have my buddy or kid sister? Let us know. I'm curious. I mean, they were pretty popular. The one toy that came out years later, I think like 4 years after this at least, was the WWF pillow, the Ultimate Warrior and the Hulk Hogan, and those were cool to have.
Well, obviously those were cool to have.
Yeah, those were cool to have. And those were like, I mean, that's just a pillow with a printed image of Ultimate Warrior on it. But I think the commercials were awesome because it was like you were doing flying elbows and headlocks and stuff. Remember all that? And wasn't there a Ted DiBiase, the money man? I can't think of his name. $1 Million Man. Anyway. So what would you rank this now in retrospect? What would you say that the My Buddy is for you?
I'm going to go hard with that was lame.
Okay. All right. Lame. Well, for me, if I was a kid, I would say, oh, I got to have that. I did want one of those when I first saw the commercial, but then I quickly was like, maybe I don't want it. And now, definitely, I'm looking at trash it.
Trash it.
Especially after all those Child's Play. Now that we know what happens or what could happen.
Yeah.
It's an even easier discussion. Marcus,
all right.
What are you bringing here?
We are going to be talking about this.
It looks awesome.
Looks can be deceiving. That kid. The neon is badass. Okay. From Nasta. Now, all right, so I had these things, hit sticks, and here's the deal with hit sticks. Yeah, they were cool. You put this little speaker, it took like double A's, you put it on your belt, and then you had 2 drumsticks with wires to it, and you could play them on any surface, and you could play them in the air if you were quick with your hand movements, really abrupt.
Yeah.
The problem, and this was cool. I do remember taking them to friend's house when I first got them, but quickly the novelty of this thing wore off quick. And the reason is because the hit sticks that I had one sound effect of, so no matter what you did, it was.
You were looking for more of the whole set effect.
Yeah, I mean, at least give me a kick drum or something, because it was just a snare. It was like, oh, wow, this is stupid, So, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this other than the commercial being awesome. I I think that when I was a kid, I thought, oh, this shit was hot because of the neon. And now I'm giving it a full on lame.
Lame.
You know, Marcus, I'm sorry. I got to admit that this is one of those toys that I always wanted. And even as I hear you sharing the limitations of it only having one sound, that one sound still sounds pretty awesome to me. So I'm going to go with gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
All right, man. I don't blame you. I mean, it is something that's pretty cool. It just, I think the commercial alone is amazing. That's good marketing. And if you notice
Now,
the X there, those are the hit sticks. That's what they look like. They had like
Sweet.
a yellow tip, you know. Anyway, interesting.
Yeah.
I love the brand Nasta. What else did they do?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Now, with all that said, I have to say the next probably best earworm of all comes into play when
Oh,
good old Skip It. This could arguably also have been a girl toy, as you only see girls in the commercial. I don't know that I
Arguably-
necessarily had one of these, but this song has been stuck in my head for 25 years.
that was a boy right there. They had one.
Yeah, it looked
One
fun.
boy.
I remember playing with it. It was pretty fun, you know. And as I said, very best thing of all, there was a counter. You could find out how many you could skip. Now, I don't recall
Yeah.
exactly how many I could do. I just remember that the fact that I could seemed cool.
My friend's hot sister had that. I didn't ever play with it, but the counter would be nice to know how many times you could jump. I mean, it's jump rope for yourself. Am I wrong?
You see,
it's pretty much
this
jump
is-
rope for one.
I had two older sisters, and it took me many years to realize that the toys I was playing with as I was growing up
Yeah.
may have they were not what you'd call gender normative, but again, we made do. It was good.
Nothing wrong with that. You can play with toys
Nothing.
at any.
No.
Yeah.
Skipping is fun for anybody. I feel like more people should skip today.
And this toy, it's actually different than a jump rope for one, because it's counting, first off. Second off, it's spinning around your leg, so you feel that momentum. You feel the G forces.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I don't know if it makes noises. Does it make any noise or anything?
I don't recall. I believe that it was loud as it rolled across the concrete.
Yeah.
So there's that sound.
Yeah, a similar toy, which I will say everybody that I remember big time, were the pogo balls. And the pogo balls were a little bit terrifying when you first started to mess with those. And I would imagine that the Skip It would also be that. I've never tried one.
No, it was not nearly as terrifying because there wasn't like the fear of bouncing off diagonally. You were always somewhat grounded. I mean, in theory, the Skip It could be the thing to trip your own self up. If somebody ever did face plant because of their own Skip It tripping,
Yeah.
that would just be funny. I don't know if that video exists. There should be maybe a YouTube video somewhere.
Trip it.
Somebody had
Trip
that.
it.
It'd be
Yeah. Trip it. So what
Exactly.
would you give this one if you had to rank it today, Nunya?
Well, you know, I'd be quick to say that the game itself was fun, but I gotta say that the marketing, the fact that this song is so embedded in my head, I'm gonna say that's hot.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's hot.
it's just a piece of good adadvertising. What
Skip
can I
It
say?
is pretty hot. Now, it's funny because as you were talking, I was starting to think about it, and I'm like, well, I don't really want this thing, and I would be inclined to trash it. But, you know, the 7-year-old Marcus, who had a crush on Trisha, my friend Billy's older sister, who loved this, well, 7-year-old Marcus still thinks of Trisha. Not in a weird way, but this is going to be, that's hot.
That's hot. That's hot.
Okay.
Because, you know,
who needs a Peloton if you can get a Skip It? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's its own
Well,
workout.
moving on to my next one. This one's going to be a good one.
It's the opposite of a workout.
It is the opposite. It's indulging. Now, it looks like it's plates of food. Oh, we have no audio. We have no audio, Nunyub. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's just super quiet. There we go. Now, at first you might think, what? A pizza? This weird army figure, right?
What's going on?
Joy's playing with food again, Mom.
Okay,
playing with this food.
Yeah, so Food Fighters. This was a toy that basically it was pizza, hot dog, different. I'm trying to remember all of them, but hamburger, and each one had little army boots, basically, with a machine gun, army helmet, sometimes a backpack. The toys themselves were kind of squishy, and the only reason I know about Food Fighters so much is because I remember when the product failed, and this is why. I remember going to the one toy store we had, which was not really a toy store. It was like a supermarket with like a toy aisle. Toy aisle, right? And I went there, and these toys used to be like, I don't know, man, like $6, right? $5.99 or something. And I was like, they're not that cool. I'd rather have a Ninja Turtle or He-Man or whatever, right? Like, I'm trying to think what would have been around the same time. Probably G.I. Joe, actually. And so, anyway, there was one day, though, that I went to go check out the toy aisle while my mom was shopping, which, by the way, I would say once a month, maybe if I'm lucky, twice a month, I would get one toy from the toy aisle, okay? Which is pretty awesome. That's pretty frequent. That's like spoiling your little brat kid. Well, there was one day where we went there and there was an end cap bin of nothing but Food Fighter toys for like $1.50 or something. And it was just a huge bin. Like, clearly they weren't selling and they were just wholesaling them out. And so I was able to get like 5 or 6 of them all at once. My mom just hooked me up.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so I got
So
home.
you had a whole food war.
I had a food collection of these figures. And then what was funny is that none of my friends had any. So I was the only one with these weird pizza guys. Like, I would bring... Anyway, point is it was kind of a failed toy. And so based on my experience and just my attitude toward it, I'm kind of not really partial either way. But because it's food and you're playing with food, I'm going to give it an ew.
Ew.
How about you, Nunyub?
Yeah, I got to add a little bit to that story. One of the funniest things is I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was expressing to me I don't know what he was talking about, but the exact quote that came out of his mouth was, it's like a little kid. You can take them to the toy store, and because... they're just so excited to be there. You don't have to buy them anything. They're just so excited to see all of the toys. And I was like, Thanks, Dad. No, wait, what? That was just your plan the whole time going into it? You took us to the Toys R Us just for, like, entertainment purposes? And again, I've since learned that that's not a total usual Saturday thing, but it's okay. It built character. But, again, I don't necessarily think that food... fighting is I think that food fights are funny, and I think that I'd like to see more food fights based off of the funny movies that we've seen, and so I'm gonna say I gotta have it.
Oh, gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
I want to
Right
see
on,
these
man.
action figures. You're lucky. Like, you'd show up with your friends, and you'd be like the one person that has like the army of food.
Yeah, right. And I don't know what that transport carrier thing was. I didn't have that, but that's pretty funny too. They actually have like their own tank, so they all fit.
Heart disease is the biggest killer in this country. So, what's the long-term weapon you want to use here? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, right. It's sneaky and effective. All right, so what do you got next up, man? Oh, this is me. This is mine.
This is yours.
That's okay. Oh, can you turn it down, Nunyub? Thank you. Holy shit.
That was a bit loud.
A bit loud. Now, these are an offshoot of GoBots. And they were... I think they were I'm trying to remember if there was a cartoon or not. But I had that boulder guy. I didn't really
Was it even a
have.
Tonka.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it was like, I thought it was GoBots spinoff. They were just pretty cool. Like, and I don't know, they were just a weird transforming toy. But what was interesting about it is that it would transform into a rock. Like,
So
that's
it's not
it.
just a pet rock, but a pet rock and a toy.
Yeah, and somewhere I have a couple of these in like storage boxes. I have a couple, and yeah, they just transform into a rock.
So you might think it's like a hide a key, like where you
Yeah.
might have like a house key hidden,
Yeah,
but in fact there's a toy in there.
yeah, and
That's
anyway,
cool.
I think they're interesting. So now as I look at it and I realize how I may have been tricked as a kid consumer, and I do remember liking the first one that I got. I remember playing with that one a lot. But now I'm just not really that partial to it. And I think it's like kind of like lukewarm. So I'm just going to give it a meh.
Meh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I personally was kind of appreciating the hide a key toy. Like I just leave
Yeah.
toys out just around the house so that, unsuspecting people don't know. They just walk past, think it's a rock. But if I'm hearing that you were saying you're unenamored with it, I'm going to have to also give it a meh.
All right.
Meh.
Good choice. All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is one of yours now.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, turn it up a little bit too.
Oh, yeah. This was the best.
What the hell is this, man?
Well, with yo-yos, you have to have skill.
Yeah.
Well, the worst part of a yo-yo is you throw it down.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't always come back up.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
you're
like
trying
life.
to yo-yo,
It's like life.
you throw it down,
Yeah.
and you think it's going to come right back up because you've seen other people do it. And again, I may have gotten older and learned how to throw a yo-yo down. You get the cool butterfly yo-yos that are, more fun and stuff. But, as a kid, it's hard to just get some yo-yo you get at Halloween or something. You think it's going to work, and it doesn't. That was always painful. Enter Yoyo Ball.
Yo-yo ball.
This
It's
was
not
a
to be confused with-
retraction. It had like a little retractable string, so
Oh.
you'd throw it down, and it would come back.
Huh.
It was awesome. It made
sounds-
everybody feel like they could yo-yo.
Yeah.
It was great.
It sounds like
I'm
a
sorry.
weapon.
Well, if you could use it like that, that'd be also cool.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
Jackie
I don't
Chan style.
Yeah, just like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it had the same effect as like, the Batman thing that would always, let him climb up or something, or his belt to bring him up. It didn't have the hydraulic power that Batman's tools did.
It couldn't
But it
lift
had the
you.
same effect for a kid.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So I gotta say, I think the yo-yo ball was rad.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am looking at it, and I'm kind of just like not really impressed with it because what can I say, man? I feel like you should learn to yo-yo if you're gonna get into yo-yoing. And that thing, to me, it's just utter trash. So I'm gonna trash that thing.
Trash it.
Trash it.
You're breaking my heart, Marcus, but I understand. That was good reasoning. And with that, let's take a look at our next one here.
A civilization died.
Oh, so loud again.
Well, so here we are, Sectars. Absolutely insane. That was the guy I had.
Battle for those secrets. You
Now,
control the
I'm
monster
pretty
Noir.
sure
Indestructible.
that
The booby-trapped bridge. The
this
secret
they ended up making commercials that were like sequential episodes. So I think that they made these like sequential commercials that were like storylines of these characters. Now what it was though was that guy, and he had a giant bug, a dragonfly kind of, and for the legs you would put your hand inside and it would be like a glove, and your fingers
Spider
were
feet
the
is
legs.
what it kind of looked like. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you kind of controlled its legs, and its thorax or whatever would go back here, and its wings, if I remember right, were battery operated, and they were very cool looking. They actually were like kind of clear, and they had veiny. I feel like they were battery operated, and he would sit on top, and oh my god, that toy was so unique and so cool. It was one that I had, one of the longest toys I remember having.
You played with it that whole time.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say was kind of gross about it was that the glove started to deteriorate, and it was like pretty soon it had rips in it, and there was like strings coming off of it, and it just was like, it just wasn't made that well. But that toy for me, Sectars, was really ultra rad.
Rad.
Well, I'm just, I feel like at this point it's almost in response, and I don't even know if that's right, just subconsciously here. I have to say, just looking at Man-Bug being a hero is hard for me to see in the first place. It's like, okay, this is an insect man. Reminds me of Baxter Stockman, like, but as the hero, basically. And so, and everything I heard you say about that glove, it just solidifies. I'm going to go with lame.
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 All right.
Sorry to be harsh. I got to do it, though.
That's all right. That's okay.
I got to do it.
That's okay.
So coming in, this is actually my favorite one.
Oh, wow.
This is Crossfire.
Yeah.
All I remember is if I had a friend who had this game, I just wanted to play this. All I want to do is play Crossfire.
Yeah, screw
It was
Hungry
the most
Hungry
fun
Hippos.
game.
Yep.
Yeah, this is so much better. Hungry Hungry Hippos, you're like picking up the little pebbles. This one's you're shooting the pebbles. You're trying to like knock the thing over off.
Oh,
so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
battle
it was
bots
just the best.
from the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, kind
Did
of.
you shoot?
It's arena
Did
warfare.
you shoot in? Yeah. It was so cool. Again, it was just a fun game. It was fast paced. You had to like keep shooting until you got it knocked over the other side. That one I got to say unequivocally rad.
Rad.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I always wanted one. I never had it. I went to friends' places who had it. We would find these in their closet, and those steel balls would be all over their closet. That kind of sucked. But we would always get enough to play around, and I would say we'd get like 5-10 minutes out of it, and then want to go play something else. But I'm gonna give it a gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
It's a good one. Marcus, tell us about this last one.
Oh God, yeah. So
Brave Lionheart and evil
Supernatural's hologram toys.
Whoa!
Now, I loved these. I had a few of these. I had that guy. That was the first one I got. I got the Native American dude later on, and then I got one of those little Orco guys. And the looking back, it's weird because the toy themselves are kind of boring because you look at them and they don't really have like any 3D face at all. But go back to the late 80s, mid to late 80s when that toy came out, holograms were awesome. Hologram things were awesome. You would see it anywhere and you'd be like, oh my God. And that was one of the coolest things, to be able to change from like a human into an animal sort of, or whatever they would morph into. By looking at it, and it would look really convincing. Plus the hologram thing, especially for those ghosts, added a type of like, I don't know, spookiness to it. I remember
Scary,
playing with those around Halloween, and like, I'm trying to remember if there was a cartoon that they tried to launch with that or not. I don't really remember, but either way, that is like one of my favorite toys and toy lines. I don't have any of those now. I wish I did. I wish I could have one sitting here on my computer. Looking at me in its weird hologram ways. But anyway, I am absolutely giving that one a full-on rad.
Rad.
That's awesome. It's always cool to see, like, you know, you can't judge technology from today. You have to judge it at the time that it came out. And that looked super awesome. for the
Yeah.
time period. I will admit that I'm not as into the like ghoulish stuff and the spooky stuff. I get scared easily. I'd probably be the kid that like would get that toy and then somebody would be like, ah, there it is, right there. But I'm hearing how much you're thinking it was rad, and I'm gonna go with rad. It looked rad,
Rad.
and the technology
rad.
looked rad.
Yeah, they are rad, and they are a little bit random as well.
That's awesome.
Now, did we have one more from you, or was that it? Did we cover? It seems like we must have.
no,
Oh,
we got him. We got
All
through
right.
it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Happy New Year. We hope you liked our list, and if you liked this video in this format, leave us a like so we know you dug it, because we're going to keep doing more like this. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We appreciate it. Nunyub, any last words?
Hey, I just want to say, if there are toys that you cannot forget, either because of a good reason or because you're stuck just with this earworm in your head, throw it down in the comments section. We want to hear it.
Yep.
Thanks for having me, Marcus.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next time on Perspective Now.